Wrestling Podcast. And his name is John Cena.
Yeah, I can't wait for that movie.
Baywatch is May.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Jumanji finished filming, and they're starting Rampage, and I know way too much about The Rock's schedule.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's gonna be so good.
It's cool.
Hey guys,
Hey,
Yo.
what day is it?
I don't know, Ray. What day is it?
It's Friday, March 10th, 2017, and you're listening to On the Heels Wrestling Podcast. I'm Ray.
And I'm Brittany, and every Friday at noon, we, a bunch of pals who used to work together, give you consistent bite-sized commentary on WWE's ever-expanding lineup of programming and other cool wrestling shit.
So sometimes
guys.
we recap, sometimes we conversate and debate in our roundtable discussions. Sometimes we interview wrestlers right here in Seattle, Washington.
Guys.
This week, what the fuck is
What
that
the
sound?
fuck?
You're not even stopping. Do you forget? I bore you.
Who is this? Who is this?
I'm above the law.
It's Kyle! Yay! Kyle's coming back!
Kyle Machka.
I'm Kyle Machka. Handsomest, best there is, best
Handsome
there was.
Kyle.
Wait, no, actually, what I wanted to say was, I'm second best there is, second best there was, second best there ever will be. That's my claim to fame.
Second is good.
Yeah, second's good. You still get a
Second
medal.
banana. You get to be
Yeah.
a fruit.
Yeah, exactly.
Banana's better than kale salad.
Yay.
Oh, kale salad's the worst. We'll definitely get into that. As I am here, I return gloriously to talk about the HOV lane, the speed bump to WrestleMania, known as Fastlane.
Woo!
One, simultaneously both good and weird,
Yeah.
right? Like,
So we were talking about this a little bit before, where I was like, "This is a great pay-per-view," and Ray's like, "Yeah, it was bad." And I think actually, I'm gonna end up somewhere around the middle.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's one of those ones where if you just watch it and then immediately went to Raw and didn't think about it, then
felt like Raw.
You're okay.
Yeah.
Well, it also did feel like Raw, yeah. But
Yeah, it
if
felt
you,
like a
if
Raw.
you sit there and analyze it and maybe have a podcast about it, you'll slowly convince yourself that it
who would do
probably
that? Who
wasn't
would be
that
so
good.
silly to do that? I don't
So,
understand.
Yeah.
Let's should just get into the meat here.
Yeah.
The meat.
The meats.
The
So
meats.
show opens with Samoa Joe and Sami Zayn.
Yeah. Great opener.
Great opener, right? Like anytime Sami Zayn's music hits and it's an opener, I know I'm in for a good match. Because Sami Zayn always puts on good matches and he understands his position in the card.
Mm-hmm.
He gets it. And I like that Sami Zayn is in a position where even though he's been losing consistently, he's still over enough that he can get someone like Samoa Joe over. Not that
Yeah.
Samoa Joe needs it, but has he wrestled on the show prior to this pay-per-view?
No.
Yes.
Well, not a whole ton, but he's
He's
still
done-
in the
he's done a
position
couple
where
matches.
main roster crowd wise, if you only watch that, he still needs validation.
Right, yeah, for sure.
True.
Sami Zayn is the best at selling in the whole company.
Right, which is why I think
Silver.
I think it's why he was picked to do this.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
Samoa Joe is about devastation and Sami Zayn is about taking devastation on his body.
Yeah.
And
It,
selling
doesn't, it loses no value on Sammy because that's the way he is built for.
Yeah, except he's fast. He's on the fast lane to Ziggler status,
Oh god.
and
Yeah.
that I don't like.
But there's a difference though, because Ziggler's I'm the best, I'm the showcase, I'm all this stuff, and then he's the underdog.
Sami
He
Zayn's
knows-
like, I listen to ska.
Ziggler's was at one point where his angle was that he always loses and eats shit. That was his angle last summer.
Yeah.
So before the draft, Ziggler's at his lowest, you
Yeah.
know? Aborted stealing Rusev's wife angles and shit like that.
But Sami Zayn is
So-
I'm eating shit, but I'd really like to not to.
Yeah.
That's his
I guess
character
what I'm
right
saying
now.
is the guy's due a win.
Yeah.
So
he is, for sure.
He's due a win, but I think the problem with this match is it was great, but I was talking to Ray as we were setting up. I don't remember any key moment of it.
It was short. It was
Yeah.
super short.
It was 10 minutes, but even then, you can have a lot going on in a 10-minute match. I've seen Sami Zayn do a lot with 10 minutes.
I think what bums me out more was just real quick, because we probably won't talk about it at the Raw the next night. He just very quickly jobbed to Kevin Owens at what used to be a pay-per-view quality 35-40 minute match was 8 minutes clean loss to the pop-up powerbomb Dunzo.
Yep.
So
Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson, Raw Tag Team Champions, defeat Enzo Amore and Big Cass.
I'm happy about this in that the club is being well built up.
Yeah.
They're doing what they need to do.
They've been shit on for so long.
Yeah.
To continue the shitting on analogy.
yeah. All right, hey, let's give the context, right? You know, in case you'd missed when they announced it before. I've been gone because of a baby, so I've been literally
Kyle's
getting shit
literally,
on
like, he walked
all
in,
the time.
he's got, like, 3 different bodily fluids on him, and none of them are his.
That's right. Yes. And not the good way.
Ew.
Not like Ravishing Rick Rude style.
Oh.
Right?
Speaking of which, really happy I'm seeing those pants on TV, by
Yes,
the way.
they are the best.
God, I love like, his own face in his crotch.
So, what I
He had
love
Ultimate
about...
Warrior in his crotch at one point.
Rick Rude is basically, like, the combination of Bobby Roode and Joey Ryan.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I love it.
One could argue they're like his...
I know they split
His
off.
offspring.
They're like
Yes,
his offspring. I
yes.
get it. I know the way history
Thank you.
works and blah blah
I
blah
got
and all
your
that.
mind.
But like,
On top of that, like, they didn't show much clips of it in the piece on Raw to announce his induction, but he was really good as a manager too.
Oh,
in
at
the suit,
DX.
the straight lace,
And
both DX
NWO.
and NWO on
Yeah.
the same night.
Vince doesn't like to talk about that.
Yeah, no, he
because it
doesn't.
pisses him off.
it's mentioned as like the 3rd sentence on his Wikipedia page.
So Enzo and Big Cass, like, sometimes, all right, so their act is pretty good. Sometimes it's long in the tooth, but what they always do great, they are like tailor made for like the roller coaster tag team emotional experience, right?
Right.
Because Enzo's gonna get his ass beat, but he's gonna make that tag, and then he gets Big Cass, and then 7 feet tall, and you can't teach that. So
Yeah. So this
He
match,
ends up throwing Enzo off.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
the match itself was good. It was a good match. It wasn't like anything to write home about, but it was good.
It's
Standard
good.
good, right?
They do it the next night on Raw. They're probably gonna do it at Mania.
Yeah.
It's just kind of one of those like, okay, I'm seeing this. Like, I really want to see this get built up.
do you think they go like a triple threat tag match at Mania?
I think it's going to be strictly like the club versus Enzo, Amore, and Big Cass and Enzo are going to win at Mania.
That's
Yeah, there
good
might
for
be
them.
some added stipulation to change it up,
Yeah.
Right.
but I think that'll probably be it.
There's going to be enough like people thrown into big matches with like the Andre the Battle
Yeah. Right.
giant thingy, whatever. We'll
Yeah.
talk about WrestleMania
Eh.
later. Sasha Banks defeats Nia Jax via pinfall.
Surprising-ish.
Why?
Well,
I didn't like
just
this match.
yeah, like the way, I don't know, like Sasha kind of had to win in
Right.
a way, but it's well, I don't know. I mean, I've been out of it a bit, so like.
But I think that's interesting because you have a unique perspective having kind of dabbled in and out for the last few months, given
Yeah.
that like you're not really sleeping at all.
like I've kind of missed like Nia's being built up, right?
Yeah.
And I still kind of feel, even with the up and down injury prone year Sasha's had, like she can still afford to kind of put somebody like Nia over, and it's so tough with the way those two body compositions go, right?
Yeah.
Like Nia's just a difficult character to book.
Yeah.
But
She,
hey,
she had a good match with Bayley back in NXT. Like, that was actually
Nia,
really,
yeah.
a really solid match. This one, I was actually excited for because it's like, okay, we're not going to do the whole she's injured and shit.
Right.
Like, we're going to get a good match before Mania. And, man, it was, like, slow. Like,
that's the problem with Nia. It's just going to be hard.
There
Like,
was
Bayley
a
Nia works
botch
because
with like a tilt-a-whirl DDT they were gonna do, and I'm like,
Right.
I don't know how much of that like had to do with like the fact that Sasha's really tiny and Nia's really
Yeah.
big.
yeah,
Like,
that's just hard. Like Bayley,
It's super
hard.
Bayley Nia works because it's classic, like
they're not trying
Daniel
to be technical.
Bryan,
Yeah.
right? Versus Kane almost,
Yeah.
right?
and it's an interesting perspective because you've got Sasha, Bayley, and Charlotte all came up together.
Yeah.
Like you can say like Bayley came up later, but they were all in NXT together at the same
Right.
time. Whereas Nia is different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nia came in later, even though Nia and Bayley had their feud in NXT. It's like this is still separate, and there's still that like they're not as close. So we've had the benefit of watching like Charlotte and Sasha fight each other for the last year, which
Yeah.
has been excellent,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And it's like it's the same when Charlotte and Bayley started feuding. It's like it wasn't just as good.
Yeah.
Because you don't have that long-term chemistry built up.
Right.
So I kind of didn't expect this to go well.
Yeah. Like I'm not saying like I'm disappointed. It's just I don't know. There's room for Nia to improve. I think it'll happen. Like I don't
Yeah.
think she's hopeless. It's just hard. Like the level of quality that certain pairings put together versus others is just so drastically obvious
Yeah.
that like it's tough to give them a break, right?
One of the things that kind of bugs me is the little like frilly sashes they put on Nia Jax's bodysuit.
Right.
Because
kinda
it kind of
weird.
makes her look like a little like princess tutu
Yeah.
a little bit, like
like
a
she
little
just-
3-year-old ballerina on stage, and her parents are just taking pictures constantly, but she can't do shit.
It's like she hulked out of her tutu.
Right,
Like,
but
was at a
she hulked
recital,
out of her tutu.
and
I
her
like
dad
that.
gave her the fucking chemicals.
Right.
And, yeah.
But I'm trying to think of like like the practical reasons, because one of the things that came up, I think, in 2 podcasts ago or 3 when we were talking to Mr. Fitness, and I was complaining about Mickie James's legs, and he's like, well, the skirts make her like legs look more devastating because she's like flinging things in the air and there's fabric. I'm like, that makes sense, but I think that the oversized, the undersizedness of the tutu kind of makes it make her look even less devastating.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of makes her look more lumbering, but in a bad way.
Yeah.
Because it's showing how slow she's moving, but you don't want that to be drawn the attention. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's kind of like when you see a plane fly over and there's clouds and then there's not clouds.
Right.
And having that contrast, you're like, holy fuck, that thing is going fast, and it's like, it's going slow. Like, you don't want to see that contrast.
Right, I'm just trying to think of like the actual reason.
We got the deep cuts on tutus here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Dude, I have strong thoughts on tutus.
I'm sure.
So these next 2 matches, for me, is what made it turn into Raw. Because, like, why are we booking these 2 matches?
Well, spoilers, because the end of the show is going to be a stomp, right?
Right.
And the shitty wrestling fan in all of us, right, especially if you listen to a podcast, unless you're the few casuals who listen to us, like, you all made this prediction, which was, oh shit, they're filling the card. The end of the show, there's going to be a quick match somewhere.
Yeah.
Your safe guess was the end of the show because Goldberg, lol.
Right.
But, you just know, like, it's a typical WWE pattern, and that sucks, those moments, like, when you can do that, right? Like, it's just, like, unannounced filler matches in the pay-per-view are just weird.
Yeah,
right?
It felt weird. And, like, to be honest, it's not a good excuse to do it.
Well, and the transition between these 2 matches, too, threw me off. Like, it was Cesaro and Jinder Mahal finished. Handsome Rusev comes out.
They're back to back.
Right, so Handsome Rusev comes out to sort of interrupt. There's no like exit and then re-enter. It was just kind of like a seamless transition to the next one, which is so.
We have 25 minutes.
Like
go.
The crowd didn't really have a chance to adjust mentally. So like there was that weird like I'm not really sure why this match is here. Like it's entertaining. I like Cesaro. I think Jinder Mahal's doing a great job. Yeah. But it's kind of like I probably would have gone to the bathroom had I been at that pay-per-view.
But that like those last 3 matches, like to go from 2 pretty good matches to like Sasha Banks and Nia Jax didn't do as well, and then you have these 2 matches. It's a long fucking bathroom break.
Yeah.
Well, have you seen the concession stands, man? Like they're just being courteous of people.
I was just saying it took a lot of air out of the room.
It did. It's funny. It's you might think that Triple H walked up to Neville and Jack Gallagher and was like, "Yo,
you need to save
you motherfuckers are fired unless you put on the match of the show."
Yep.
Which speaking of match of the show, segue. I got really good at segues while you were gone.
Yes, I heard and I appreciated it.
Thank you. I'm just trying
to
keeping the dream alive, man. No,
That's
Ray is shitty at.
And I feel like actually that was a really good like alley-oop.
Speaking of match of the night,
I said match of the night, and then you said match of the night. So let's go.
Yeah. So Neville and Jack Gallagher.
Right.
Like, oh my God, I'm watching this with my husband, and at least 3 times he's like, I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
I've never seen that, and there's literally shit they're doing that I'm like, this is crazy. Like, this is why you have the cruiserweights. This match right here. Is why the cruiserweights are on Raw. It's why they're on pay-per-views, because this is the thing they're trying to build, right?
Yeah. By God, we have actually distinctly different United Kingdom wrestlers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Their angle isn't just, I'm fucking from the UK.
Tea and
Oi,
crumpets.
mate, get the camera. No, they're like totally different. It's awesome. And it's also, having been out of it for a while, like, I had Neville's fucking shirt when he was Arrow's bitch or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, he's like mini Triple H.
It's
fucking
awesome.
angry man.
He's super fucking angry. He's scary. Like they tweaked his entrance music so
just
it's
a little.
like so it's just a little bit angrier.
Yeah,
It's like his whole gimmick is just like black and white, like dark. I'm gonna fucking kick your ass in an alley persona. And then he's got Jack Gallagher with like a rainbow trunks and an umbrella with a mustache. Like so the best part is like Jack Gallagher has a gimmick, but he's still an incredible wrestler.
Yes.
And I feel like they do an excellent job of balancing this because he has like the spot in the middle where he's like up in the turnbuckle and he's upside down, like the leg comes down, comes back up, and then he does it again. That's like most matches where you have a gimmick of that nature, it's not a serious match.
Yeah.
And this was early on and then continued to just build and build and build as a match. Like it was excellent. Like
I think I want to give big props to the commentators. Like in terms of the story, they're doing great storytelling.
And fucking Austin Aries, man.
Like, so
good.
Because Austin Aries was going off about like, listen, Jack Gallagher is not a high flyer, and that's why he went outside, because, like, he's not a high flyer, he's not going to do anything.
He's not a high flyer at all. He's not, oh, wait, now he's a high flyer.
Yeah, he did one move out of desperation that was a high-flying move, and then they were like, oh yeah, Neville doesn't do high-flying moves anymore because he's too good for that, and then he ends the match with the fucking... with his the off the top, was it the Phoenix Arrow?
I think it's the Red Arrow.
Red Arrow. Yeah.
They might call it something else now that he's heel. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was like awesome. It just made it more important.
Right, like Austin Aries knows what he's doing because he's a wrestler. It's like that's part of the reason Corey Graves is such a great announcer, right? Because he did it. But Austin Aries has been doing it for longer, and he's just because he's only injured currently, right? Yeah. And we'll get into that a little bit more.
Recap. I just want to see. Okay, cool.
Right. Yeah. No, it's
sweet.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's cool having Aries there, and yeah, we'll get to that later because that's cool.
That's cool.
So here's, I guess I would say, kind of one of the surprises of the night is that this match between Beef Supreme and Kale Salad was not fucking horrible, right?
I missed you, Kyle.
Man. I knew there was something missing. I knew it. Like, I love our guests. They've been so great, but, Kyle, I missed you.
I missed being here, but the interviews were good. I really liked all of them. I listened to them all, and it was weird to be a fan. By the way, nobody made the list though. Y'all did good.
The list of Kyle. Maybe it's a
now
good list.
All the legions of the Kyleaholics can be happy that I'm back.
Anyway,
yeah. So
Beef Supreme Kale Salad.
Beef Supreme Kale Salad. So I'm weirdly finding
Braun
myself.
Strowman and Roman Reigns for those that are following.
I'm weirdly finding myself kind of rooting for Braun Strowman.
Yes, I'm so Braun Strowman.
I'm totally on board.
I don't know. They've done this so many times where they have a gigantic guy who's there just because he's big. But I don't know, for some reason with him, I want them to make it work. I think they can make it work. He's shown some things.
Mad potential.
So hold on. Do we like him because he's feuding with Roman Reigns?
No.
No, in this case, I want him to do well outside of that. I mean, that just makes it easier.
That just makes it easier to get on board with it, right?
Maybe they're finally realizing, hey, the way we get people over is put them against Roman Reigns.
Because people hate him.
Or if people just don't care about them, right? I'm nothing Braun Strowman. Now you put him against Roman Reigns, Strowman's pretty cool, right? Yeah. That could be a way some fans go.
Right. His match with Big Show, where he started doing the catch wrestling.
Dude, that was amazing.
What the fuck? This kid's awesome. And then I saw an old clip of him in the... Adam Rose, what was it?
the Party Express.
Yeah. Oh my God, this kid's gonna be awesome. Give him a couple years.
Was he the bunny?
No, he was the Pharaoh.
We don't know. Even the bunny.
That's a big ass bunny.
Yeah.
The weird thing that seems to be consistent though is it's just still Roman being Roman, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of the feud, it's almost like Bray Wyatt used to be. Regardless of what's going on, the opponent he's against, his place in the card, anything, the time of day, the Roman Reigns match is going to go the same way and he's going to win and everyone's going to hate it.
Braun Strowman had not been pinned prior to this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns has been booked in matches where the only way he lost was for Kevin Owens and Jericho to cheat. Mm-hmm. He then also went up against the tag team champs of the club and beat them.
Yeah.
Which... side point I absolutely hate, because it's two wrestlers who are great together should be better than one solo wrestler that doesn't have a title.
Yes.
Independent of everything else wrong with Roman Reigns, that's just terrible booking, right?
Yes.
But yeah, it's I go into this match and I'm I'm into Braun Strowman, I like it. I know it's going to be a good match. I'm confident of that now because I've seen enough of good Braun Strowman matches. But I know at this point this is where Braun Strowman's streak is ending.
Yep.
And it's sad.
Yeah, it's...
Especially given where Roman's going, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
So, we can only hope that, after WrestleMania, some shit happens where Roman's angle completely changes. Yeah. I'm talking more than just a color change on his logo, right?
Well, that happened on Raw the next night, so...
Yeah.
It was red.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Red for blood.
Oh my
anyway,
God.
That match happened and then it ended. And then we got to see Bayley against Charlotte. And now, what's our time? Let's keep check time because now where the opinions start, right? All right, here we go.
I'm going to keep it short.
No, I mean, I have opinions.
Oh,
yeah, no, Kyle's got opinions on this.
So... they're probably
it's hard not to.
Yeah.
It was a good match. I hated the ending.
Everybody,
not like this, quote unquote, not like this, right?
Yeah. I think we all are agreeing.
Yes. Okay, good.
You don't want the streak to end like this. it would have been better. This is one of the few times where I actually, in a pay-per-view, wanted a disqualification.
Yes.
Right? Usually you're like, oh,
And this
DQ,
is
that's
where it
fucking
would have
lame.
made sense.
Yeah, because it totally would have made sense. You still get the same storyline payoff that you would get.
Yes.
And then you still have the streak, so that that way the streak can change at WrestleMania, which is the event that shit is supposed to be, like, awesome, right? So that's just all really weird. And then the thing on Raw the next night was just even more fucking gross.
Right, I was expecting Charlotte to retain and then lose at WrestleMania.
Yep.
Like, I think that was what everyone was expecting, right? Because it's like, who can be at the top of the card and fucking lose at WrestleMania and not lose anything that they've built?
I would almost argue that this and the thing following it were them trying to say, everyone's going to expect them to do this. Nothing ever happens at Fastlane, so this time we'll let stuff happen. And it's like, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
So,
I'm not even gonna talk because Kyle said everything I wanted to say.
you're welcome.
Literally.
You're welcome. So, yeah, I mean, we'll get to let's speculate on the future after the Raw part, right?
Yeah.
So let's get into the next sort of 19 seconds of Bill
match.
Goldberg's career. Yeah.
So
22 seconds.
So I did the shitty wrestling fan thing, and as I'm watching this live, I looked at the clock.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Right, because it's like you
So
kind of
hold
want to
on,
know
let's
what you're getting
interject.
into.
Question.
Yeah.
When we talked about the stunt matches before, or Raw matches,
I
were
had
you
a
doing
feeling.
it then?
Right, no, I was not doing it then.
Okay. So you were already like, oh, why are they doing this? Oh shit, it must be that.
Right,
Yeah.
like, well, so like, I knew in my black heart of wrestling fan hearts
That's right.
that
the thing that won't let you enjoy.
yeah, a shitty wrestling fan, I knew Goldberg was going to win this.
Yeah.
Like, Owens is great. He has no upward trajectory unless you put that title on someone who is, like, huge and draws names at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And you have this big match of Goldberg versus Lesnar. That needs to be big. You can't have Goldberg lose to Kevin Owens when he's completely demolished Lesnar.
You could I would argue that you could have Lesnar immediately interfere, DQ the match.
You could. Absolutely you could.
Hold on, what don't you like about the result?
So I didn't say that.
Okay. Well, that's what it sounded like you're getting at, because I was going to subject and say, I think the result's fine.
I think the result was great. I think this is absolutely what they needed to do. Even better, I loved how they did it.
Yes.
Because they ended up getting the Goldberg match of, okay, spear, jackhammer, done, we're good.
Uh-huh.
But the problem that you run into so much is you have this champion who's been at the top for like 8 months, who's riding this wonderful wave with Chris Jericho, and you don't want to make him look bad by a part-timer.
Right.
So what you do is you have him fuck around outside the ring and play the psychology angle. And they just kept rolling out of the ring. This thing goes on for like 5 minutes,
Yeah.
right? Like, this is the way you fucking do this.
Yeah.
And then you play the Jericho angle to build up that, make it seem like, oh, well, Kevin Owens didn't totally lose on his own.
Right.
He was distracted. So you're not hurting the guy at the top of your card.
Which,
but
if you think about it, is like a super awesome thing for Kevin Owens, because Lesnar just lost clean.
yeah.
Lesnar didn't need to have a distraction.
Exactly. So they basically made Kevin Owens still very, very valuable to them.
Yes.
They haven't discredited him in any way. Though anytime you put like anyone up against Roman Reigns, you're basically fucking him over, right?
Yeah.
But they did it right with Owens.
And it's like,
Can
I'm
I-
going to sort of seamlessly transition real quick in this point to the Raw
Ray,
thing,
you
and
don't
then
have
we'll
an
go back,
opinion.
is that even the next night on Raw, immediately Kevin Owens is like, I don't even fucking need the Universal title right now. It's so much more worth it for me to fuck with you, Jericho.
Right.
Yes.
Than to do that.
made-
I'll get to that. I'm hot
Yeah.
shit. I'll get to that shit later. And it's like, boom, done.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Kevin Owens can make any fucking lemonade out of
Yeah.
fucking anything. Like,
Right.
Kevin
So-
Owens and Jericho are fucking money.
Yeah.
I have to ask you guys a question. What, in my baby sleep deprived haze, like, I missed why, like, if I recall correctly, Lesnar didn't win the Royal Rumble, right?
No. Randy
How
Orton
did we get? Yeah, Randy Orton did. That's right. How the fuck did this? How did we get
Welcome
here?
to wrestling the last 2 months, Kyle.
No, like,
How
I
the
remember
fuck-
the Royal Rumble ending, and then us talking about it, and then saying like, "Share this in the podcast" or whatever. And then it was, I didn't, I wasn't clear. Okay, does Orton get to call a shot against whoever he wants? And this means he gets to switch
He
brands.
gets to call it.
or
That's
whatever?
all happening on SmackDown.
That's all happening on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so then how did the Lesnar thing happen? Just real quick.
Okay, so before this pay-per-view, Lesnar challenged Goldberg to WrestleMania, regardless of title.
The title
Right.
wasn't even being talked about yet at
Yeah.
that point.
Oh, okay.
Jericho talked, basically.
Yeah, no, I know how the Jericho Owens
Okay,
part
so
factored
yeah,
in.
that's
So yeah,
basically what happened.
Okay, cool. That all makes sense.
Okay.
All right, that's fucking weird. So
Yes,
Jericho.
Kyle.
All right,
Yes.
so I'm super excited because I've been saying it for months. Like, I've wanted this Jericho Owens thing.
You and
Yes.
everyone else. Like, everyone was
Well,
wanting
yeah,
to
but
fight.
I mean, I feel like I'm not going to say I wanted it sooner or whatever, snowflake shit. I'm going to say, like, I thought it would have happened sooner. There was some point where I was like, maybe it'll happen by Survivor Series. Oh,
They've
no,
been
now
teasing
they're
it for a
pumping the
while.
brakes. It's been teased forever.
They did it right, and the Festival of
yeah.
Friendship was the best way to end it.
Yes.
Way.
Also,
Oh.
that painting of the
I want that so
the birth
bad.
of David
Yeah.
is definitely my desktop background at work.
So, Ray,
Okay.
what, like, final thoughts on the way that match ended before we talk about the segment?
I thought it was the best they could have done given who's in the match.
I agree.
Okay.
I like how they kept Goldberg going. I liked how Kevin Owens basically
So-
can't have any consequences. It's good.
So understand that no matter who has the title, these two matches were going to happen: Jericho and Owens,
Yes.
and Goldberg and Lesnar.
And the
So
belts only don't. The
They-
belts
they
don't
sh-
even matter, honestly.
they kind of do. Because here's what
Alright.
I will get to it. So this happened before. This happened a few years ago with CM Punk and The Rock.
Right.
Where basically you have the guy that's carrying the company and doing an awesome job, and there's this match already announced and already has buzz and already is going to sell tickets. Fuck it, give him the title.
Right, because the Rock match was announced like a whole year before.
beforehand.
Like the Raw after Mania the year before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rock
so that-
versus Cena Part 2.
Yeah, so that match was already going to be money. Meanwhile, now fast forward, Goldberg and Lesnar were already announced. Like, it's been announced for a while, and it's going to sell tickets. It's not going to be a good match. And it's also going
Bullshit,
to...
I think it's going to be great.
What evidence do you have?
I have evidence that we can talk about this in the future because we're running out of time.
Okay. But bottom line is, okay.
And I
so-
want to talk about Raw. There was some good stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
Get to your point.
My point is that this did nothing for that and lessened Kevin Owens and Jericho.
I will disagree because I maintain that both those matches don't need the titles attached to them.
Correct.
The consequences are there.
The consequences is you're going to end the WrestleMania with Goldberg and Lesnar.
You
as
don't
opposed
actually know if that's the end of WrestleMania, though.
likely.
Likely.
The point is
but
this:
you don't know.
the feud will end. Both those feuds are going to end, most likely, at least in my opinion, with
They
those
should.
matches at WrestleMania.
They should.
And the belts don't even matter because the feuds are that
don't.
intense and strong.
So Lesnar's going to get the title.
Yeah,
likely.
most-
That's my prediction. Yeah,
right.
Lesnar
But
gets the
point,
title.
that's separate. That's his life after the Goldberg feud, right? Like
Yeah.
Goldberg
He's still on
Lesnar
contract
is a
for like
big
another
enough
year.
Yeah,
It's like he's still
Goldberg
around
Lesnar
regardless.
big enough feud. Jericho Owens definitely big enough feud. The belts don't matter. Like the U.S.
I
title.
think it wouldn't
is an
matter
afterthought.
if Kevin Owens would have dropped the title to Jericho as Jericho had his probably like career year.
Yeah. But that's all like meta side stuff. Like, oh, it'd be nice if Jericho got a title.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. Like, I'm saying the feud and the intensity of the matches and the storyline is so good that the titles don't matter. Sometimes the title is a prop for like feuds that kind of aren't going as well, right?
But
like
also-
the title gave Roman Reigns legitimacy. Well, I didn't even do that. He was that bad. But like that was the idea,
Yeah,
right?
But titles don't matter.
Yeah.
But also you have
To
Kevin
quote
Owens.
Nikki Bella, titles don't matter.
Yeah,
No,
but for Kevin Owens and AJ Styles, you've had these guys for like 2 years,
Yeah.
and both of these guys are neither of them are in the main event. Meanwhile, you have Goldberg, Lesnar, Roman Reigns, and Undertaker, and Bray and Randy Orton, all in the main event.
Right.
Like you're using your card wrong.
We
like,
still have 22 days, Ray. Who knows what's going to happen?
Uh,
I
we
think
know what's gonna
like
happen at
you're
this
kind
point.
of, I guess I feel like you're getting distracted by like oh, here they go again. Like those guys are going to be awesome and be around, and they like what I'm saying is they're so good they don't need that, and it's not even an insult for them to lose it. Like Owens said it best on Raw the next night. Transition segue.
Boo,
boom.
segue.
Yeah.
That he doesn't need that. He'll get to it later. That's how in on his own shit he is, right?
Yeah.
And I like agree with them both in real life and storyline. Like, yeah, he is so good and so over. He can back burner the fucking top title.
Yeah.
That right? That's how good he is. That's when you know you're over. Because some people when they're champions, they need that title or they're nothing. They float way the fuck back down, right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of why I'm not as
Dean
bothered
Ambrose.
by it.
Arguably CM Punk.
No, let's not get into that. That's a whole other podcast.
Dude,
Well,
can't-
I wanted to segue into
Chicago!
we're in Chicago.
I just came back, man. You're gonna shit at me like that? That's my boy. I thought they handled those chants the best that they've done yet.
Stephanie's amazing. It's
Stephanie's
like
was the
CM
best.
Punk is a loser just like all of you, and then segues immediately into it.
Yes.
Speaking of also handling the crowd, I loved the post-cruiserweight match with Austin Aries and Neville.
Oh
Like-
my god.
Like, you could tell, like, independent of, like, Austin Aries now coming back, right? And they're clearly setting that up for WrestleMania. Like, independent of that, you could see the difference between them, and you kind of alluded this to, I alluded this a little bit when you brought up the whole, like, Aries on commentary thing.
Yeah.
Like, they're chanting, what? And Neville doesn't react to that. He just keeps going through his lines. And then the first thing Austin Aries says is, I don't know if the audience, they're having a hard time hearing you. And he immediately calls out to it. And I just don't know if it's like Neville didn't feel comfortable enough to go off script or if this is just more of a veteran thing.
Yeah.
But it was so cool to see, like, Austin Aries just kind of play into it.
Oh
And
yeah, he's so cool on the mic.
it's
He's
like,
so
I'm going
fucking
to punch
funny.
your other orbital bone. I'm like, oh, fuck, man, this is going to be crazy.
Dude, calling out orbital bones.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
did you see his skull? Like, and what
Yeah.
they did to it? Oh,
Yeah.
man.
It's crazy.
Women's title setup, clearly this was going to be a triple threat.
Yeah,
There's no way
everybody knows.
Charlotte wasn't going to be in this picture.
Yeah, it's weird. I expected Bayley to come out and show some, like, remorse or regret, but then the way in which she did it was slightly surprising.
I expected her to give up the title given what had happened the Raw after the last, when she got the title, where it's like, oh yeah, Sasha helped, blah, 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 blah. I feel like, and I keep saying this mostly because I hope it happens, I feel like this could be the start of the Sasha heel turn.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I think it will be.
Sasha's been helping Bayley, they're
been
best
overdue.
friends,
Yeah.
blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. Like,
Yeah.
they're definitely
Now's the
starting
time.
to kind of
Show,
throw
like, fuck her over to win, and then
At
that'll be-
WrestleMania, yeah.
And then
No,
we'll
I
get
100%
heel
agree.
Sasha on Raw after Mania.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
it'll be
great.
awesome. But yeah, it was a little bit off with the Bayley thing. What I expected her to do was to just show the remorse and then just basically give away the rematch. Be like, yeah, let's do it. Like I can't stand this pit in my stomach, blah 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 blah. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of the whole like weird half calling out
Yeah.
and also like I just don't need Mick Foley to interview the women anymore.
I don't.
Yeah.
It had its time where it was great, and then now it's just kind of like
Yeah.
let them do their own thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They don't need you to get them over anymore.
Yeah,
man.
they're fine.
The thing, I figured out why Charlotte's so good on the mic. She talks really slow, which is what you do when you're talking to someone who's stupid.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. I'm like, and then she'll have like little bursts where she speaks really fast because she's flustered, but she goes back to, I want my title, and it's like I just love listening to Charlotte and dissecting how it is she does things.
Yeah.
Her on commentary was great, especially just the lead-in. Corey Graves call out to him. He said, "Your Grace, I have a stupid question to ask, but just in case, are you happy that these two are having a match so that they like weaken each other or whatever?" And she's like, "That's a good question. Yes." And it was so awesome.
Corey Graves
the fact that
definitely
they call
plays
her
it.
Your Grace.
Your Grace.
It was so
Just
good.
keeps playing into it. All
Yeah.
right, so that's going to wrap it up for this week. If you like the podcast, you can find us on Twitter at OnTheHeelsWP and on Facebook.com/OnTheHeelsWP. You can also find our podcast through lots of different services like iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube.
Thank you for listening to On the Heels Wrestling Podcast. Like, share, subscribe. 5 stars on iTunes. Tune in next week where we'll share our thoughts on the WrestleMania card so far and the road to said pay-per-view. And then after WrestleMania. And after all that, we'll ask ourselves the eternal question.
Kyle, close us out.
All right. What I really want to know.
What do you want to know?
What do you want to know?
Will Goldberg hit at least 5 cumulative minutes wrestling time in the ring before he's done?
Some Ronda Rousey shit.
We are up to what is the time? 1 minute 20
1 minute
seconds?
40, I
1 minute
think.
40.
Oh my
okay,
God.
right.
I hope so.
So I feel like the time his pyrotechnics have run is longer than his wrestling.
His
time.
backstage entrances with the guards are
Yeah.
probably long.
He may have held his son on his shoulders longer than he's wrestled. No one will ever know.
Yeah.
He probably showered longer today than he's wrestled since he came back.
I think he may have blinked on air more than the seconds he's wrestled in the ring.
All right.
What is that, too, by the way?
But
The blinking, man. Is he like...
I think he has
do
a...
some bumps of coke?
I
Yeah.
think that he's got the sparks in his eyes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, because he also sweats profusely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, he doesn't do anything in the ring and then just starts sweating profusely.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why the matches are so short. He can't see anything because of the sparks. He should fight John Cena. Nobody can see that guy.
Nobody can see it. Nobody.
Beard.
On the Heels Wrestling Podcast.